Hi guys, today's video is going to be a tutorial on how to do my crazy big ass wings because so many of you guys have asked me for like an in-depth tutorial on how to do this because I know a lot of you guys have hooded eyes and you struggle with doing winged liner. So do I, which is why I end up doing my wings like this sometimes because let's be real, if you have hooded eyes, winged liner is just not for us and that's just how it is. And no matter how many tutorials you watch and no matter how many times you try, they're going to end up looking really weird and crooked because we don't have the eye shape for it. So this is my idea of how to do hooded eye wings and I hope you enjoy it. So let's just get into the tutorial part. So now that I have you nice and zoomed in, the thing that I want to do first is just explain to you why a regular wing does not work on someone with hooded eyes. So if you can see my eyes now when I look straight forward, you cannot see my lid at all. And if I turn around, you can also see that the fold that's going through my eye here extends past where the outside of my eye is. Does that make sense? Basically, it means that if I were to try to draw a line going out here from the beginning of where my lid is all the way out, I would have to cross over this fold here. And since I do have that fold, it makes it extremely hard to get a precise and long line without it looking really crooked. And also, if I were to do an actual wing like most people do, I would of course go ahead and extend my liner out here and then I would connect it to like my lid here. But if you see, if I try to draw anything like across and meet it up with my lid, I would have to go over this line in my fold here, and if I do that, my liner is going to seep into the fold and create a bit of a line going this way, and it would just end up being a big mess. Like, trust me, I've tried this so many times. I'm sure if you have hooded eyes, you have tried this so many times too, and you've basically given up on doing a winged liner because I had for so long. So what I want to do today is show you how you can actually do a big winged liner, but you are going to need some eyeshadow to do this because otherwise the look is just not going to come together and it is going to end up being quite a dramatic look. So this is not going to be the kind of eyeliner that you would do on an everyday basis. This is more of like a going out liner, or if you're like me and you just like fun makeup every day, this could be an everyday liner for you. So what I'm going to start off by doing is I'm going to start by priming my eyes. You can obviously use whatever you want, but I'm going to use my Natasha Denona eyeshadow base. So the next step now is going to be to build up a crease, and what you want to do is you want to keep the shape extremely round because at the end of the crease building up, you want to make sure that your eyeliner that is going out is going to extend past where you have the shadow. So you don't want to wing out your shadow because the look is just going to end up looking kind of weird. So what you want to start with first is, like I said, just build up a crease. You can use whatever you want. I think today I'm going to use something kind of like greeny brown, so I'm going to do that, and then I'm gonna let you do whatever you want to do. If you're following along with this tutorial, you can use any shadows that you want. You just want to make sure that your crease is kind of dark, and like I said, you can use any colors that you want. So I'm going to just fast forward through me doing this. I'm only going to use two shades. I'm going to use one lighter shade as my transition shade and then one darker shade to deepen up my crease with, and I'm going to pull that all the way around my eye, basically in a circle. So I'm just going to have you watch what I'm doing because this is not like the important step of the tutorial, but it's very necessary for the end result. So now that I have kind of like a swampy green brown crease, you could obviously use different colors if you wanted to, but this is just kind of what I felt like doing today. So what you want to do next is you want to take your liquid liner. I'm using my DHC Cosmetics liquid liner. This is my favorite. So what you want to do is you want to see how your eye is looking when you look straight ahead, and then you want to make sure that you start your liner above the first crease in your eye here. So you don't want to go straight close to your lid and try to go over this line. You want to start above. So I'm going to start above where the hood of my tip of my eye here is, and then I'm going to draw a line upwards, probably up towards where the end of my brow is. So you can see I didn't extend my brow as long out as I normally would because I wanted to make sure that I had room for my liner. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw an angle up here, and you want to make sure that you draw it kind of high enough up that when you go to connect it to your lid, you're going to end up with quite a big triangle on the outer corner of your eye, because that's what's going to make it look like you have a big wing when your eyes are open and you're just looking straight ahead. So you can probably follow the line of your lower lash line if you have symmetrical eyes, but I don't have symmetrical eyes, so I can't do that on both sides. But I'm probably gonna go and do something very similar to that on this side. So what you wanna do is you wanna just hold your breath and be very concentrated, and then you wanna take your liner and you want to just start by drawing a line going up here. So the angle of this line can really depend on how you want your wing to be. This is going to take a lot of practice. It's not going to be something that you're going to do once and be perfect at it, because it took me a very long time to kind of perfect this, and I still don't feel like I'm an expert at it, but I'm getting there and I'm starting to realize like where I want my wing to be and such. So once I've gotten that line down, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to basically draw a line from the tip of where I just drew this and then connect it to where the hood of my eye is. So I'm going to aim to have a pretty straight line, but it's okay if it's going down a little bit. You just don't want it to go upwards because it is supposed to look like a wing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that same liner and just start by drawing this inwards towards my eye here. And you can definitely start smaller and then go bigger. It's going to be a lot safer that way. And I'm basically still holding my eye open. I hope that my camera is focusing properly and that you can see what I'm doing. But I'm not closing my eye at all because I want to make sure I connect this to the top of the hood here. So once you've done that, it's going to look a little bit like this. Like, it looks crazy right now, but that's totally fine. It doesn't matter. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to take my liner and then I'm going to make sure that I tilt my head back so I don't have any lines in the way here. And I'm going to connect that to the outer end of my eye. Like so, and you can still see that it's looking a little bit crooked out here, but that's okay because it's just the way it goes when you have hooded eyes. You can try to go ahead and correct that if you want to, but sometimes you just have to accept that your wings are never going to be perfect. So next up, I'm gonna go ahead and fill in the rest of like the tip that I drew here with the liner. I'm basically going to just fill in like everything that I have going on here. And you can for sure keep your eye open while doing this and just fill in like the top part that is not on your actual lid. So once you have filled in like the top part, I'm also going to go ahead and bring this onto my lid here because this is going to help me transition the rest of the eyeshadows and stuff that I'm putting on my lid a lot easier. And you want to take this about, I don't know, 2/3 of the way into your lid possibly. So once you've gotten to this point, this is where you can really start playing. So what you can do is you can either cut your crease, basically cutting it all over your lid and meeting it up with the tip of where the edge of the wing begins here, so that basically all of your lid is covered in concealer or whatever it is until you get to where the black point begins. And then you can just start kind of layering shadows on top of that and making everything kind of blend seamlessly into the black. My best tip would be to have a very dark shadow on the outer portion of your eye hair so that when you're layering that dark shadow above the black, they're going to mix very well in together. So I don't think I'm going to do a cut crease today because I want to show you like the simple way to do this. I have done these kind of looks in other videos, so I will have one linked up there if you want to go check it out. It's not like a tutorial like this one, but I did do a look like that in that video if you want to go see how I did it a little bit differently with a cut crease. But actually, before I do anything else, I am going to go ahead and just take a little bit more of that brown and just really make sure that my crease is nice and dark because I didn't feel like it was as dark as I wanted it to be. And then what I like to do before I go in with any other shadows is I like to take a black eyeshadow and just make sure that like all the transitions on the outer portion here are looking okay and they are nice and dark and nice and filled in with black, because sometimes when you go in with liner, sometimes you get a little bit of like streaks and stuff, and I don't know if that's just me and I'm not being very precise, but I like to just go in with a black eyeshadow here and make sure that everything is looking nice and opaque. And then for the outer portion of my lid, I'm going to use kind of like a dark teal, and I'm going to start by placing that in the middle of my lid here. And this is what I mean by having something that's kind of dark that's going to blend nicely into the black here. So I'm not sure where my camera cut off, but I think you could see me applying most of this. So I was saying that when you go in with something that's kind of dark on your lid, it's a lot easier to blend it into the black. And a good thing about doing this technique is that it allows you to put a lot of different shadows on your lid because it frees up so much lid space. And it's just really fun to be able to put down different color combinations that maybe don't necessarily go with what you have in a crease. And it's just, I don't know, it's just a fun way to really experiment. And you can make this look like a cut crease if you want to by just making your lines very sharp. But for this video, I just want everything to be kind of seamless, and I don't want this to look super intimidating. Like, I get it, it's probably a little bit scary looking at first, but once you've done it a few times, it's honestly kind of easy. The hard part is really just to get the line right, but once you get the lines and you fill in like the rest of your wing, the rest of this is kind of a piece of cake, honestly. And then for the inner portion of my lid, I'm gonna use some gold because I just feel like using gold today. So I'm just gonna pop that basically on the rest of my lid here and just connecting it with that green teal shade. And then what I like to do to finish off is I take my liquid liner again and I just line very close to my upper lash line. You don't have to do this if you don't want to, especially if you're the kind of person who wears lashes. I really don't feel like this is necessary, but if you want to, go ahead and follow along because I just find that my mascara just pops a lot more when I do this. I don't want this to be a thick line at all. I'm barely just touching my eyelid and I put this as close to my lashes as I possibly can. I'm also going to pop a little bit of green in my waterline. This is Teaspoon by Colourpop. And then I'm gonna go ahead and curl my lashes like I always do here and then put on a bunch of mascara and then the look will be complete. Okay, so here is the look all done close up. So now that I'm looking straight ahead, you can definitely see that it looks like I have very big wings on, but obviously when I look down and I do other things, like you can tell that I'm kind of cheating a wing, but it's still a really cool and different wing. So let me zoom out so you can see what it looks like a bit further away. So here's what the finished result looks like. I absolutely love doing wings like this, and I would highly recommend, if you have hooded eyes, give this technique a chance because I feel like you might really like it once you get the hang of it. Obviously, it's going to take a little bit of time and practice to be able to get your wings to look the same because, I mean, even my wings today are not perfect and it's just how it goes sometimes. You just have to make the best of it and make it good enough. That's always my motto, just make it good enough and no one will ever know. So that's gonna be it for today's video. I hope you found this helpful at all. Let me know if you try this. I would love to see it. If you would tag me on Instagram or something, let me know because I hope this works out for you guys. I've had so many requests to do this, so thank you so much for watching this. As always, if you're new to my channel, I would love it if you would consider subscribing and I will see you in my next one. Bye.